Hi guys, Bran here. Welcome to another video. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're doing the Ask Me Anything response. I put out a questionnaire and Ask Me Anything on the community tab of my YouTube channel. When did I get that? I don't know. I don't know when I got a community tab, but it's pretty cool and I like that I'm able to use it. So I've been putting it to good work. I would have recorded this video a lot sooner, but life really got in the way. I'm not gonna go too far into that because, like, you know, I want to keep the spirits of the video high, but you know, some bad things happened and it basically made it to where I can only put out the videos I had already recorded. So yeah, now we're getting to this Ask Me Anything. I did not forget, I promise. And if you like this, if you like me responding to your Ask Me Anything, your comments live, do let me know by liking the video. That way I know that, you know, this is something that's cool and we can do this like more often. We can do more of these, you know, if it's a fun thing for all of us. So yeah, without further ado, without me rambling, let's go ahead and get on with the questions. Jimmy Snakehands asked, if you could go back in time and talk to behavior during DBD's conception, what would you tell them? I would tell them, I think, beyond all else, beyond everything and all else. First, I would tell them, your game's gonna blow up. Your game's going to be one of the most popular games on Steam. It's never going to literally fall below top 25 on Steam. It's not. It is always going. Your game's going to blow up. Your game's going to be huge, because that way, at least they would like know the caliber of, you know, the amount of people they were going to have. So maybe they could have like structured the game a little bit more soundly, because a lot of the reason the game is designed so structurally unsound is because they didn't think it would catch on the way it did. But it did become a cultural phenomenon, so obviously the system is not able to handle that, and the spaghetti code just messes everything up. And that's why if you nerf Deathslinger's iridescent coin add-on, Boon Totem stop working, and just like weird connections like that, because it's all spaghetti code, because they didn't think that they would ever have to support like 40k players on their game all the time. You know, they didn't think their game was going to blow up, so they just weren't prepared. Also, I would tell them two things. I know it has to be one, you know, it doesn't say it has to be one thing in the question. Okay, so the second thing I would tell them, and we'll leave it at that, is the second thing I would tell them is, like, you need to communicate with your base. Peanuts, not peanuts. Peanuts, not the other thing. It's like peanuts with an I, okay? You can't get me on that one. But he said that the main reason they don't communicate as much is because they've received a lot of community backlash, and that's why they don't update things very often, and that's why they don't communicate very often. And I think that's just like a very, very, very like poor way to go about things. Like, do you know, like how would it be, like, for example, like last week I was having horrible desync with the game, and a lot of people have been saying they've been having desync issues like since the last patch. What if behavior just said, and just like on their official Twitter just said, we are aware of the desync issue. It may not affect all players, but it affects a lot of players. We are working on something to fix it. That's it. Like, the only time we get those communication tweets is when like the game has stopped working. Like blood points aren't being earned for matches, or people can't connect to the server. Like, that's the only time we get those updates. Otherwise, the Twitter's like, look, Dwell's being cute over there. You know, it's like, it's dumb stuff. It's fluff. So like, I would tell them, hey, you gotta communicate. And sometimes they're not gonna like what you say, but that's okay. You still gotta communicate. You still gotta do that. Dole says, would you like more items or perks like flashbang to be added to DBD? Do you have any ideas for one? I do want more perks like that. The idea that you can, like, I think in general, and just as a design concept, I do something that helps the match progress, and then I receive a powerful effect, it's good design. Because the most frustrating perks in the game, like we covered in a previous video, are like Dead Hard and like Noed, where it's like, this, you got this for free. This is incredibly powerful, but you got it for free. So that's like, those are the least like perks in the game. Like Prove Thyself, like Ruin Undying, like those things are frustrating, right? Because like they just go burr. You know, there's not really like a huge downside to them. They just kind of happen. So I feel like having more perks of this design would be cool. I think, do I have any ideas for one? I think it would be cool that I don't know what it would be, if it was like totems or like saves or gen progress, but I think it would be cool if there was a perk where, like, if you spent a certain amount of time advancing the game, that you can decide what you get out of a chest. Like, maybe not down to the add-ons or like the strength, but you're like, I want a toolbox. I want to go get a toolbox. I want a flashy. I'm gonna go get a flashy. Like, you build tokens, and then you can like get a menu, and you could like pick what you want out of a chest. You know, I think that would be really cool. I think that would be fun. But you know, that's obviously pretty hard, so I don't think I'll ever. But I think it'd be cool if you could just be like, hey, instead of just searching a chest and having it be random, what if I contribute to the match enough that I can just pick? You know, I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be fun. PK Hazy asks, what would you change about bigger maps to help less mobile killers? Obviously the kind of like the no-brainer is to like make them smaller, because like they've already done that. That's not like outside behaviors like realm of like balancing. The swamp used to be much bigger. Swamp used to be much bigger, and they just like cut out the sides. That's why you get weird stuff like hatch spawning on the edge, because the map literally used to be bigger. It didn't used to, like when hatch would spawn in those areas, it didn't used to be on the edge of a map. It used to be like inward, because the map used to be bigger. So they have done it before, but they aren't doing it with any other map for some reason, including like the map remakes where they go in and they like redo all the maps. They don't change the size, so obviously like shrinking them would help. I think what would be really helpful for less mobile killers to make the maps more balanced was to like have the gens more centralized, because if you think about it, like almost all of the gens are spread out, and they're also in tiles. I think that's the main thing that like hurts for non-mobile killers, is that the gens are very far spread out, and like the gens are also in relatively safe areas. I think about the times it does happen, like sometimes on Larry's, I've seen it happen on Haddonfield, but you'll get like 2 gens that are relatively close to each other, and that is a nightmare if you don't do one of those early in the game. But you can strategize that, right? Like you can see, oh, look, 2 of these gens are over here, like they're close to each other. We got to do one of those, so this is safe to be here later. And like that situation, like is like very helpful. It's very balancing, you know, to have that situation. And I think that should be a more consistent thing that happens, that like some of your gens are just like really close, and you got to get one done early in order to like not have, you know, 2 gens stuck to each other near the end. I think that would help a lot. Like, and that doesn't even require you to switch the map. It's just like the placement of things inside the big maps, you know. And you can still have like the strong tiles like near the edges, because like that's a place you can waste a lot of time with the killer. So, you know, just spitballing, that's what I would say. Slimeball Steve, what is an easy quality of life change behavior can make to help improve DBD? I would add visuals to sounds. I know we get some of those with like the bubbles from screens with certain perks, but how do people who are deaf like hear somebody breathing around a corner? How do they do that? Like, if you think about it, if you play this game and you're deaf, everybody has Iron Will for free, and Iron Will is one of the like meta perks in the game. You know, like essentially having to deal with everybody having Iron Will is just because of like the way the game's designed from an accessibility standpoint is just kind of dumb. You know, so I would hope there would be like some sort of like accessibility tab or flip option that would like make it to where like, I don't know how that would look visually, but just some sort of like visual indicator that like, you know, there's somebody like breathing around the corner near you, you know, just something like that. That way it's not like, oh, well, sorry, you're deaf. I guess you just don't get to know that survivor's there. Because I can't tell you how much of my matches are won by hearing somebody sneak around near me, and that's just like not an option for certain players, and that just sucks. I just think that just sucks. So yeah, that's what I would do. Vector, do you think they should give Freddy some buzz? If no, why? And if yes, what do you suggest? I think they should completely overhaul Freddy again. It probably won't happen. They need to. I think Freddy is fundamentally broken as a character. Not broken as in strong. I think they messed him up. I know he started off having like a very like lore faithful power, but that lore faithful power was near useless. He was like bottom 3 in the game, if not outright the worst in the game. But when they redid Freddy, they made him like, they made him like the most generic killer in the game. Like, they took this iconic character, this iconic franchise character of Freddy Krueger, who like his whole like appeal as a character is the way he hunts and kills people in the dream world is like super crazy, super fantastical, super like like hard to qualify, right? Because it's so just out there and surreal. And they said he can teleport now, and he has traps he can put mid-chase. That's it. They made him one of the most generic killers in the game. Somebody, an IP with that much personality, they just made him one of the most generic killers in the game. They gave him a teleport, and they gave him like an anti-chase. They basically went in and changed Freddy from being a character to a Dead by Daylight killer. Literally, like they just said, what would make Freddy a good Dead by Daylight killer, and stopped thinking about like what made him. So I would literally rework the entire character, try to bring back in this idea of like Freddy being Freddy and having to do stuff with the dream world, like instead of the dream world just being like a background effect, having to do something with that. But don't make it bad. Listen, old Freddy as a concept, trying to like make his like success rely on the dream world was not a bad idea, because that's how it is in the lore of the franchise. But you made it bad. Just figure out a way to make it good. You didn't have to like rip away all of his powers and give him one of the most generic kits in the game. Like, I would just try to like rebuild his kit from the ground up and be like, okay, well, this feels like Freddy now, but he's also not hot, you know? Like, he's not terrible. Okay, Yoshi Huo, sorry if I mispronounced that. Give me your top 10 games of all time, 5 if you can't think of 10. Just curious of your taste in games aside from DBD. I actually built a thing for this. I actually made a whole thing for this. Let me pull it up. All right, so here are my top 10 games. This took me a while to figure out, because honestly, to figure out your top 10 games of like all time ever, that's a pretty big undertaking. But you know, this isn't perfect, but this is like off, like without taking too much time thinking about it, like this is what I scrambled together. Dragon Age Origins is probably like you'll notice that since you asked what kind of games I play typically, RPGs, and horror games are kind of like what I'm into. That's like the other things I like doing is like RPGs and horror games. Dragon Age Origins was like the first big RPG I ever played. Very much influenced who I came to be as a person, because there's a lot of like life lessons in that game. And I love that game a lot. It was really hard to put it above Witcher 3, but to like think about which one has had like a longer lasting impact on my life, it's just from a quantity standpoint, like a number, it's Dragon Age Origins. But Witcher 3 has also had like a very, very immense amount of like influence on my life, and is probably one of my favorite games of all time. And if I had met it earlier, then Dragon Age Origins would probably have been my favorite. Fallout New Vegas, of course, also follows that line of like very, very old, great RPG game where I get to be like whoever I want, do whatever I want. The choices I make change the story. Building my own character, like I'm always into that sort of thing, like a lot. Those are my comfort games. Speaking of my comfort games, weirdly to say, my biggest comfort games are actually the Dark Souls games. So Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1 are there. I like Prepare to Die, just that Steam only has the picture for remastered because it got taken off the Steam store. But yeah, the Dark Souls games are my comfort games. I love those games a lot. I love how like the idea of Dark Souls is like, you know, these things seem like really painful and insurmountable, but in reality you can work harder, train better, and beat basically anything in the game. I like 2 more than 1. I know that's kind of a saucy opinion, but like I've had more positive memories of like running through Dark Souls 2 with friends. Like some of the closest people in my life I have played Dark Souls 2 with, so it's kind of just a fonder thing. I think Dark Souls 1 is the objectively the best of the 3, which is why it sits at number 5. As for now we start getting into the horror games, where I have Resident Evil, the HD remake, at number 6, because I feel like just the open world is so, of like the Spencer Mansion, is so nice and so like atmospheric, and like you never feel too powerful, but if you're smart you can kind of like begin to outsmart the zombies and where they're placed. But yeah, it's like and it's Resident Evil, dude. It's like it is the horror game, so yeah. Then you have Fallout 3 and Skyrim. Those are there more sentimentally. Those games don't hold up as well as they used to, but once again, kind of like with like Dragon Age Origins, in terms of just like influence on my life and happiness and serotonin it has given me, like those are the games that I played before I got into like the better games, right? Like Witcher 3 and New Vegas. Those games really like brought me into like RPGs, so you know, I love those games a lot sentimentally. And here we go with Resident Evil 2 again, also the remake. Love it for the same reasons that I love Resident Evil 1. It's just that it's over shoulder. It's a little bit more expansive. So it's more of the great Resident Evil story. That's really, really cool to follow. And I think they did a good job on that. And number 10 is The Forest, which is a survival game. I do like survival games too. There's just not a lot of good ones out there, to be honest. And I think The Forest is the best one because it has a very, very robust survival system, but it also has an incredible story and plot that you can completely miss. You can just like not do it. But it's just great from the top to the bottom. So yeah, those are my top 10 games, at least right now. I tried to go do that as fast as possible. So hopefully that explained things for you. Basically, TLDR, I like RPG games, I like horror games, I like Souls games, and I also like survival games. Yep. All right, Caleb Gill asks, who's the most flexible mid-range killer? And they list Pyramid Head, Deathslinger, Plague, etc. Most effective mid-range? I would say Pyramid Head. Because his ability to just kind of like nullify things like BT and DS is like really, really strong, since those are like Dead Hard, BT, and DS are the top 3 most run perks in the game. I believe in that order. Yeah, Dead Hard, BT, DS. Yeah, in that order. Those are the most run perks in the game. So being able to shut down 2 of the most run perks in the game because of his cage mechanic, really good. Also, he has the anti-chase where he can hit through walls. Very, very cool. He's also 115, so he can walk around. But like then again, that's kind of like his only drawback, is that like he is 115. He doesn't have a movement option, so you'll lose a lot of games with Pyramid Head. But if you're looking for just like mid-range flexibility, like Pyramid Head's ability alone to deny, like I said, 2 out of the top 3 survivor most used perks in the game really says a lot to like how powerful he is. So yeah. And last but not least, Style Hand. What is your favorite quote or favorite lesson in life? It's not one that I've heard from, anybody else. It's just kind of like what I've come to understand in life is life already sucks, so it doesn't need any help. like you don't need to be mean to people because life is already mean. Life already isn't fair. Life already is sucky to a large extent. Life is great in a lot of ways, but life also sucks in a lot of ways. It doesn't need help to suck more. So if you can make life easier and better for the other people in your life, you ought to do it, because life already has enough suck going around. It has enough bad stuff going around that it doesn't need your help to make things worse. Life already has enough gunk and badness in it. It doesn't need help. Life already sucks. It doesn't need any help. That's basically my motto in life, and why I try not to be mean whenever I can help it. But yeah, that was my Ask Me Anything. Hopefully you enjoyed the questions that were asked. If you liked this, make sure to like the video and let me know in the comments below, because I can, do another one. we can do another one. The community tab is my free range. I can do whatever I want with it. So if you want to do this again, just let me know, and I'll make another one. Other than that, if you want to sub so you can see more of my daily uploads, make sure you do that. That way, the YouTube homepage actually shows my videos, because otherwise it doesn't for some reason. But other than that, anything else for you? Thank you so much for watching, friendo. I'll see you in the next video. And if I don't, I'll see you when I see you, friend. Bye-bye.